Welcome back, everybody, to this final episode of Tales of the Abyss. Just kidding. This may take a little bit longer than I had anticipated. Plus, there's going to be some bonus stuff after the end. But this dungeon, we're kind of on the second section. It's actually pretty large. So I may have to put the ending on the next episode. Well, I want to welcome everybody back, and as we approach this dungeon, Guy notices it's kind of familiar. And it's, the mansion where he used to live. And there's the fireplace that he hid in as a child, one of the few survivors. Of course, saved by his sister. Replica of Hodo. But yeah, this is a pretty cool dungeon, so I wanted to show it in its entirety, or as much as I could. I mean, some of it you can skip, but I want to show as much of it as I can. Bleh. And remember, we left Ash behind, so we're gonna have a scene about what's going on with Ash. He was fighting off all the guys, as Luke ran through the door, if you remember in the last episode. He was sort of covering our backs. And fighting a lot of guards. So, kind of a sad scene there. And Luke realizes that he died.
けません。罠です。ナタリア、逃げよう。
I find it interesting. It just, really have to play these really story-driven RPGs in Japanese because the acting is just, top-notch. These really emotional scenes. I don't think English, speakers or dubbers are trained to, really show the emotion that's supposed to be shown. And that's why it's just way better in Japanese. A lot of, cultural stuff too. Japanese prefer these kind of sad, emotional moments rather than a Disney-style happy game, good versus evil. You've got more, the good people do get killed, and it's definitely more emotional. And there is the kitchen sink. He set a trap for us, but Luke, kind of absorbing Ash's, final 7th phonemes, gave him a special ability. So we're gonna have an epic showdown with Sink. And I pretty much just had to leave this whole battle in because it's just an epic fight. So I hope you enjoy. Although the seriousness of the fight is kind of lost when he's got those little chirping birds flying around his head. was his second Hyogi. Wow, Jade and Luke double teaming him there. And of course Jade gets the glory of finishing him off. With Mystic Cage. So that's the end of Sync, and now nobody stands in our way. The only one left is Van himself. So there was a scene there, and I entered this dungeon, but I realized that I need a Mieu Fire 2. So Mieu has a second fire upgrade, and just for kind of completeness purposes, I know this is a big jump, but I wanted to switch and show how to get the Mieu Fire 2 right quick, so that we can properly do the final dungeon. So there's this other area in the game, this Mushroom Road, and it's totally optional, but it's actually a pretty cool dungeon. Got some really creepy music and lots of funky shrooms to make it even more funky. And basically you just go all the way through it to the end, and you'll pick up a power-up for the Arvior, the flying machine, and it makes it so that the flying machine can land anywhere at all in the world. One of two upgrades that are actually optional, but definitely worth getting. So you just make your way through this slimy forest, and at the end you can pick it up in one of those search locations. I've already picked it up, and now I'm just heading back quickly through this place. Those weird pods that are shooting mushroom spores all over the place. You can shoot them with Mieu Fire, and sometimes they have a treasure chest, and sometimes an enemy pops out. But let me go ahead and show on the map where this location is. You can only get to it by going up the river here, and there's this lake kind of on this continent where Engave, Grand Kokuma are. You go up the river there, and you have to be in the water, and then you can enter the Mushroom Road. Kind of a cool optional area. I like the look of it. And then you don't have to go all the way back through the river here. You can always just lift up out of the river. So that's step one that I probably should have done before entering the final dungeon, but hey, you can still do it whenever. Now you can land anywhere on the world map. And before, there were certain places that we couldn't land. high plateaus and whatnot. The next step, which I jumped to here, is we gotta rescue this guy. And yeah, we'll all be related. This is the spring area where Luke and Tyr use that portal device to go from Yuria City to the surface. If you come back here, the dog is here. Everybody thinks there's something wrong with the guy, the way he talks. He's a little weird. He's acting a little odd, but he's thankful that we rescued him from those vines. You gotta burn the vines to rescue him. I'm not sure, I think there might have been a mistranslation here, but everybody seems to think he's weird except for Tyr. But during this whole conversation, where the characters are, thinking he's kind of weird or he's an odd kind of guy, Tyr is actually thinking about the dog. So Tyr's comments there are actually about the dog, not about him. And she thinks the dog is cute and cuddly and friendly and nice or whatever. But I've seen some people say that, Tyr is the only one that is oblivious and says that thinks the guy is nice. But that's a mistake. She's talking about the dog there. That's all she cares about, is the cute animals. So after rescuing him, you can go to Kettleberg, and you'll find him here where these pagodas are. And I think you have to knock the treasure chest off of the roof. Usually there's one up there on the roof of the pagoda, and you have to use the snowball machine. I may show that later to trigger this, but for some people he's not here. But if you've knocked that treasure chest down, he should show up there with his dog. And his dog has this crystal stuck in his mouth. This sort of, Celsius tear or whatever. Frozen thing, which Jade says is dangerous, so we automatically get warped to the volcano. And we throw it into the volcano because that's the only safe place to dispose of it, apparently. And this will cool the lava in the volcano so that we can actually get to some sections in here that we couldn't get to before. And yeah, so all of this is to get the Mieu fire too. I'm not sure why it was such a roundabout side quest. They could have just made it 100% necessary, because it's kind of cool to revisit these places and they have some extra sections. As you can see, the lava is sort of hardened, become like lava tubes, and there's a couple sections where you can actually walk in the lava now and pick up some treasure chests that probably saw in our first visit. Yeah, this dungeon's just such a cool area. I don't mind revisiting it. So there's a couple chests there. I already picked them up by actually walking through the lava and taking a lot of damage, which you don't really have to. We have these sections where the lava was rising and falling. They've all stopped doing that now. And so there's a section here near where we fought the dragon where they usually don't let you go. Right down here. And if you walk through here, we'll be in a new section of the volcano that we couldn't get to before. And this is kind of near the beginning, the first entrance to the volcano where we came into the passage ring. And there'll be a scene here where Mieu finds another one of his phoneme
あれってフォニムか
crystals.
確か濃度が高いとかいう
And basically this will upgrade Miu's fire breathing ability so that the fireball flies an infinite distance now. Instead of, just sort of disappearing like it usually does, it'll fly an incredibly long distance. And yeah, if I could just hit this thing, there we go. So you can light these pedestals that are farther away now. And there are a couple, there are a couple secrets in some of the dungeons that you need this for.
久しぶりにムカついたぞ
And we need it in the final dungeon for a couple parts of it too. So in order to show the kind of epicness of the final dungeon, I wanted to grab the Mieu fire and show everybody where it was. Oh, and the Flamberge sword is just there, sticking in the dirt. How convenient. Benri dane. It's just there. Pretty good weapon. And there's a couple new sections you can go to now. Originally we couldn't light that because the flame didn't reach so far. And you should recognize this area as kind of the beginning. But if we go up, past this puzzle we did quite a few episodes ago with the 2 cubes, up toward the main passage ring entrance, there's another section where we can use this Mieu fire too, or upgraded Mieu fire. And yeah, it kind of feels good when it lines up nice like that. And we get a Carmine Chamber. Okay, so with that all out of the way, go ahead and jump back to the final dungeon here. So sorry about that, a little detour. I really like the way that this place looks. As I said before, it's in pieces still. Seems like it's still forming. So we're back here where we fought Sink, and now we're going to go in here with the Mieu upgraded fire. And I just wanted to take a detour there and show how to get it right quick. So things like that, it doesn't work with the first Mieu fire. It only works with the leveled up version. And you'll also need the final Mieu upgrade, which is Mieu's flying ability. But that's pretty easy. It's not really a side quest or anything. It's just a location in Tartar Valley where you go in and he'll pick it up. Not too many places that you use it, but it's kind of nice to have. I accidentally I knocked these things down already, but you can knock the pillars down in here different ways, and depending on the way you do it, you'll get a different item. And this is the section of the final dungeon that is pretty interesting. This gigantic rotating room. I think they really could have gone off with this and made it much more complicated. So here's Mieu's flying ability. Touch that one and just makes a chest appear with a special gumi. Not really a big deal. But yeah, the way the puzzle here is very interesting. And it's quite interesting. I think they could have made it way more complex than it is, which would have made it a lot of fun. But it's still fun to have it in here. So I'll show everybody how it works before we face off with Van. So we got these two enemies in this room. They're wandering around down there below. We can go up here. This is the final save point. Can go around the room, no big deal. It all goes back to the same place. But there's these two enemies in here, and this giant thing in the middle, like an hourglass shaped object or something. And when you fight these enemies, apparently I can't avoid them with Tyr's cat suit. So let's switch to Bloody Howling. So if you kill these guys with a darkness spell, they'll give you kind of a dark crystal. And these are a one-time use. So if you mess up, you'll have to leave the room and then come back and fight them again. One way to do it is just put all your characters on hold, kind of on defend like I did there, and I used Tyr to defeat that one with a holy spell. So there's the holy crystal, or the light crystal. So I have one light and one dark. And once you use it, the entire room will rotate. So now we're on the wall. It's just kind of cool, making it like an Escher style puzzle. But now that piece that I've used is gone. So if you want another of the white crystals, you have to fight those guys again. It's unfortunately a one-time use, but really you only need one of each if you do it right. Collect all the treasures before stepping on the switches. Alrighty, so we're on the wall now. We're walking on the wall. Pretty trippy, huh? And you'll notice that, you know, these were those things that I had knocked down before. And depending on how you knocked them down, there's two ways, you know, you can actually go to a different area of this dungeon. I'm actually crawling on the floor, technically, up this ladder. So we'll switch it back. So there it is normally. And I chose to go out and get the weapon out here. The phonic sword. Pretty good weapon. And we'll rotate back. We'll climb on the floor again. Tyr just looks funny with a little cat suit, quickly going down the stairs. There's that other pillar over there you can see I knocked down. But there's an alternate... Yeah, I can't jump down there. Let's see if I can jump. Nope. There's an alternate way to do that one, and it gives you a different item if you knock that pillar down in a different way. I can't recall what it is right now. Make sure I got everything here. And then we'll climb up this other one that we knocked over. So yeah, it's a little trippy because it's, you know, like we're walking on the wall now. It's like gravity's been altered. So we'll have to use Mieu flying to touch this one. And then we'll go back down. Get to watch Tyr's cute little ladder animation. So now the room is rotated back to normal. You can see the ladder on the floor there now. It's usually not noticeable until you actually start rotating the room and you realize, oh, that's why that's there. Trying to avoid these Evangelion enemies. So this one is actually pretty important. Takes us up to the second level. So previously we were down below when we rotated this. And we can walk around it. Yay, so much fun. And this time we're going to use the black crystal, but before we do, make sure to look out here before you rotate the room. Yeah, phonic mittens. All of the final kind of weapons and armor in the game are phonic something, but they're all quite good. So now we can safely rotate the room the other direction using the black crystal. Yeah, for some reason I can't avoid those guys, so I went ahead and cut the fight out. They can't be avoided with Tyr's cat outfit for some reason. Did I say that already? I probably did. I apologize, I always repeat myself. It's from being an English teacher in Japan too long. Repeating the same thing over and over and over again to make sure people heard me. Probably a bad habit about now. So I'll rotate those two. I guess that's all. I just want to make sure nothing else before I rotate it back. Look at that, landed right on the staircase. Yeah, pretty cool puzzle, to be honest. I think it's really interesting. And way over there, those are the two blocks I just rotated. Use the L and R buttons to kind of rotate the character to make the shot easier. And if you do that, you notice it turned one on, or turned them both on and then turned them both off. So what you needed to do is switch to the Mieu flying. Pretty tricky little puzzle here. And block the fireball before it goes through the second crystal. And I failed miserably there. So let's switch a little faster. See it coming, and we'll block the flame. And it opens the door. So let's go down and see what our reward is. So yeah, there's a really pretty area here and a special weapon. So, somebody's grave. Luke wonders who it is. And Guy says it's Yuria's grave. Yuria herself. So we're going to take this unicorn horn, special weapon for Tyr. And I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the episode here. We've been going for a while. And yeah, I did promise that this would be the epic conclusion, but in the next episode we will start right at the staircase going up to Van, and we'll do the final showdown. And I just really wanted to show how to get the Mieu Fire 2. A lot of people sometimes can't get it or are a little confused, and it's necessary to really experience this dungeon as a whole. I just really wanted to show the mechanic of the rotating room. Kind of a neat dungeon. But anyway, I wanted to thank everybody for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the finale for sure next time.